My name is Mo, I produce metal, and today I'm gonna show you how to get this sound. A big part of this sound is coming from a chainsaw guitar tone that I conjured up using Odin 3, and here's how that sounds like. So it's very inspired by like the Doom sound, but I think slightly more dirty sounding, maybe a bit more deathcore-esque. What we're starting with is just the main DI of Odin 3, and I'm cutting away a little bit of top end. I'm cutting slight amounts of mids here. I'm using the tone suite distant here mainly for this pedal that is called the destructor pedal that is just like really mangling the sound. But I'm also firstly gonna turn on the cab, which I'm using the GGD round 1 contenders. I'm having some strange graphic issue that it's taking up the entire screen, but you can see the cabs I'm using here. And I also have the IRDX core from Bogrand Digital, which is just adding a slight amount of dynamics to the guitar tone. And here's what that sounds like. I'm also using the built-in drop feature here, which is dropping the signal 1 entire octave. If I turn it off, it sounds like this. I mainly want to use it as a layer to the main guitar tone, which is real tracked guitar. I'm going to blend this in under that one. So like I said, the main reason I'm using this plugin is for this pedal. So if I turn off the pedal, it's gonna sound a bit more standard, or how you should say. It's adding this really crunchy sounding distortion. And then to achieve the chainsaw effect, which is like this really fluttery tremolo sound. I think when Mick Gordon is doing it in Doom, he's using all kinds of different distortions, but I'm emulating it here using the Tremolator by Soundtoys, which I'm then feeding into the Devil Lock compressor, which is a really heavy-handed compressor that is also adding a ton of distortion. The thing is, I'm doing this before the cab. So it's like processed into the amp signal, and here's what that sounds like. So you can really hear this fluttery sound, and since I'm using this as a layer, I want to have this effect pretty exaggerated, so this will sound a bit over the top on its own. What you could do is just adjust the depth knob here on the Tremulator, and I'm going to start it way down here and then take it up, and you'll hear the effect come in. And an added effect of the Devil Lock is that it's bringing up all of these really crunchy, ugly sounding distortions in the gaps between here. You can hear it especially here in the first part of the breakdown. So you can hear it's almost like a farty sound at the end of each note, which can sound really cool in the spaces if you want to fill it out and you want it to sound really sludgy. Or you can just also cut it out once you've printed the tone. So next is just some added processing. I am doing some Saturn here for different bands. I'm doing warm tape here for the low mids at different levels. And I have clean tube for the top end to have it sound a little bit more crispy. It's mainly making it slightly more fat, I would say. Basement, it's going to increase the clarity a bit of the signal. It's removing a lot of fluff there around 300 Hz or so. Soothe, just to smoothen it out slightly. And next here we have a distressor and also this FG bomber, which is making it slightly more punchy, especially when it comes in and out like over here. to get this initial punch of each note. And then just some EQ. I am removing a fair bit of low end here and also boosting the highs because I want to use this as a layer to the main guitar tone, which I can then bring up a bit more here in the breakdown. So I don't want too much low end that is making it sound too fluffy in the overall mix. And I also want this really sludgy distortion characteristics of a 10K to come a bit forward to make it sound almost like a synth top end. So here's what that is doing. So on its own, it's sounding a bit thinner, but in the context of the mix, that will help it really blend in. It really accentuates the tremolo effect, I think, and it's a great way of adding a lot more presence into your breakdown without it sounding too harsh, essentially. So yeah, that's the Do-Mask guitar tone I made with Odin 3. I am then also blending in Apex here. Almost sounding a bit tame in comparison to the Odin tone, to be fair, but it's adding a little bit more low end. I have a sub bass here using Anna 2. And other than that, it's just Jim bass for bass. I'll be having affiliate links below for Odin 3, Apex and Jim bass 2, so if you want to pick them up, I would be very thankful if you would do so through my links. And also, if you enjoy this kind of content, please consider liking the video to help it out and also subscribe to the channel. So now we're here in the mixing session and we're gonna add each layer in one by one so you can hear what they're adding to the overall sound. Starting with the drums, bass, sub bass, Apex, chainsaw guitar, and finally rhythm guitar. So if we just take the drums, bass and rhythm guitar, it's sounding like this. But then adding the Odin guitar, it's gonna add so much. And then I'm gonna show you what I've done in the automation department. So we had these really long palm mutes that are going before this hit of the snare, and I really wanted the bloom of the Odin here to come up. You listen for the Odin blooming up during these parts here. So then we can add the post-production. And we can add the effects here. And here's the final instrumental breakdown. Enjoy.